Hello friends, my name is Steve and this is Steve Talks Books. Thank you for coming by and watching my weekly update. It's where I talk about what I've been reading, what I'm going to read, what I won't get to, and everything else in between. If you'd like to connect with me, the best place is on our website at pagechewing.com. I'm in the process as I record this of installing a WordPress front page to it, but we do have a forum with all of our meetups and discussions and calendar and videos and all that kind of stuff on the site. But I am in the process of designing that, but I can be found on pagechewing.com. I can also be found on Vero at that one MFer, or I can be found on Twitter at Steve Talks Books. Vero is kind of my catch-all platform, and Twitter is more of my book-related content. So let's start off with what I was reading last week. Last week I did finish An Alliance of Enemies, Dissension. It's a book that I've been wanting to read for a long time. It's one of those books you want to keep getting to, you just can't for whatever reason. It's a shorter fantasy book, and it takes a different take. It's kind of like a different take on, social issues. Like there's different races in the book, like dwarves and elves, and they don't get along. There's like this uneasy peace, and you can tell that it's just a matter of someone lighting a match for all of it to just blow up. And it does go into how the different characters handle the conflict or the tension in the air. So there were some different takes on that. I was a little bit surprised with kind of the different issues it kind of takes on. There was a lot of characters in it, and so sometimes it was hard for me to keep up and know who was who. I'm really bad about names, especially in fantasy books. That's why I usually prefer books with less characters and shorter names. But overall, it was a fun read. So pick it up if you're curious. But I'll probably have a blog review out for that sometime here soon. This week I also read Immortelle by Catherine McCarthy. It's another one of those books that I've been wanting to get to for a long time. It's super short, so I have no excuses. I just haven't gotten to it. And it goes into grief and loss. And there's a phenomena that some people have experienced, and I've experienced before. I'm getting the chills as I say this. But I don't know if I should get too much into it, but there's something that happens that some people experience. I'm trying to be really vague. After someone they know or love passes and they have certain experiences. I'll get into more of that in the review. I'll have a section for more, more spoilery review section for that video that I'll have out soon. But it tackles that, and it also goes in, like I said, grief and loss. And it's almost like uncovering what happened. There's a mother and daughter, and you learn about them and this little area they're living in. And it has a pretty big, not a big punch at the end. It just leaves you feeling heavy and, I don't know, it leaves you feeling really heavy at the end, but in a good way, in a horror way, not in a bad way. So this week I did also read V for Vendetta by Alan Moore. This one, I didn't like it as much as I did when I read it in the past. Maybe it's just because, I don't know about all of you guys, but I'm a little bit burned out on the dystopian stuff, and maybe it's just the the pandemic stuff, and maybe I just need a break. It was a little too close to home, maybe. And it was good. I enjoyed it, but not as much as I did in the past. I think, let me know down below if you're veering away from these types of stories too, whether it's just too close to home or it's just too much. Sometimes you just need a break. You need an escape. So in that sense, it was still good, but, it was maybe not what I needed at the time, if that makes sense. So we did plan to have a meetup. It's just stuff keeps coming up and we keep having to postpone it, but we are going to plan that out soon with our friend Jose from Amazing World. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And I also read The Warrior Prophet, chapters 9 through 13. And then we had the meetup with Daniel and Katarina this week. Uploaded the podcast, but that's a nice pace for me just to kind of, because there's so much that happens, and we talk for like an hour to an hour and a half on just a few chapters. There's so much that happens that this pace for me is working out really well, and I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot from this process. And this week I'll be reading The Warrior Prophet again. We're reading the rest of part 2, I believe. So I'll get about 100 pages of that in, and I'll also be reading The Grace of Kings, We have our meetup very soon. I think it's next week, so I'll have to finish that before next weekend. But looking forward to it. It's a series I keep hearing about, and I'm excited to dive into it. I picked up the audiobook during the Audible sale this weekend, which was a lot of trouble. I didn't even know about it until Friday night. After the Friday conversation, we were talking, and Mihir told us, "Hey, by the way, don't forget about the Audible sale." I'm like, "There's an Audible sale?" So it was good news, but bad news for the wallet, if you know what I mean. And this week on the channel, we did have House of the Dragon episode 5. We discussed that episode, and it's a lot of fun having these meetups every week. I'm glad we started this because it's been just a lot of fun every week to discuss these episodes, and it's made me pay closer attention to the episodes because I don't have to talk about it. So not that I wouldn't pay attention otherwise, but it's a different kind of paying attention. I also did have the Death Rider review. It's a short novella. It's a prequel to Gunmetal Gods, so check that out if you're curious about it. It is free on Zamil's website. And also this week we had the Friday conversation with Christopher G. Brenning, John Palladino, Chris Mohan, and also our friend Mihir from Fantasy Book Critic. A lot of fun. Nick Borelli wanted to join us, but he had a pet who was ill, who needed some medical attention, and thankfully the pet's doing fine. Everything worked out okay, but it was kind of a rough night for him and his family, so he wasn't able to make it. But thankfully, Chris came to the rescue and stepped in, and it's always great talking to Chris Mohan. I mean, it's always I don't ever worry about not running out of things to talk about when he's around. We also had the Warrior Prophet podcast meetup, and I am uploading those to YouTube every week. We're just a couple weeks behind on YouTube. We're a few weeks ahead on because every Friday I upload it to the podcast, and then every week I upload the video with a thumbnail. I think we'll have a video meetup again at the end of the Warrior Prophet, but I'm not sure. It just depends on what Katarina and Daniel are comfortable with. They're on this journey with me, so it's more up to them how they want to handle that. So we'll see how it goes. Also, not on my channel, but on Mr. Philip Chase's channel, I did appear on the Dear Dr. Fantasy series. It was great to sit down and talk, and it was weird being on the other side and being asked questions. And I always blank on names. Like, I don't know. I always forget everything when someone asks me when I'm in that kind of situation. I think maybe because I've gotten used to being the person asking questions and not the person answering questions. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just not very smart. It could be both. But whenever someone asks, what comics did you enjoy? What are some comic books that you've read? And I've read a ton of comic books, and my mind went completely blank. I couldn't remember anything. But I love talking comics, and like back in like Image Comics, that whole time period, and all the books that came out, and how it's evolved since then. I think it's really fascinating, and I'd love to talk more about that sometime. So if anyone ever wants to chat about that, let me know. Maybe we'll set something up just to chat about comics. I think that'll be a lot of fun. That'd be really interesting. And this week we do discuss House of the Dragon episode 6 on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, and 4 p.m. Pacific. So I always used Eastern Time now for some reason. I don't know why. I always convert my time 2 hours ahead of mine just because it's just become a habit. I don't know. So anyway, on Friday night we do have the Friday conversation with 3 horror writers: Laurel Hightower, Michael Clark, and Wendy Darble. I'm mispronouncing Wendy's last name. I apologize. I'll get that clarified. But it's 3 horror writers this week. I'm excited to chat horror. We're getting into fall, and the weather's changing, so it feels appropriate, to have some horror writers on and talk scary stuff. We also have the Warrior Prophet next portion of that discussion posting this Friday morning at about 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I may have a fall TBR coming this week. Depends on the time I have available. And also there's a few other videos I want to record. I do have a couple of reviews recorded that I want to get out. So that'll be rolling out here soon. So also there's a couple of group reads that we have set dates for that I wanted to talk to you about. We still do have the Dandelion Dynasty. This will be about a book a month. We have Age of Madness with Yolene and Jose from Amazing Worlds. I believe Yolene is hosting those. We do also have I just clarified, or I just set dates for the Hellborn King saga with Christopher G. Brenning. We are meeting October 23rd, and then again in November, about a month later, to discuss each book. He'll be meeting with us on stream. So there are 2 spots open for that. I want to keep it to 4 people max on stream. If you want to join those, be sure and RSVP on our forum calendar to join those. I do want to have it not too many people. Also, Trials of Ashmouth. We're going to be having a meetup for that one. Don't have dates set for that. And also, I wanted to tell you about House of Chains. Some of you have been asking about Malazan, what we're going to do with that, because we took a little bit of a break, kind of a long break. So we are going to restart that. What we're going to be doing is I've learned a lot from the Prince of Nothing meetups we've been doing, and we're going to take a similar approach to Malazan. So we're going to be meeting on Sunday mornings to discuss a book at a time. And when I mean a book, I don't mean like House of Chains, the book. We're going to be discussing the book within the book, like the book section, like the part. So part 1 will be in October, I believe, the 24th or the 23rd. I'll leave the dates. So we'll be meeting that morning to discuss that portion of it. And then we'll go from there, if it'll be bi-weekly or weekly, just so we can take it really slow. These books are really demanding. So I don't want to go, I think a book a month or even a book every 2 months for Malazan is kind of a lot. So I just want to take it really slow, really easy. So it's open to anyone. If you are someone who wants to read with us but doesn't want to appear on camera, we can do a podcast version of it. So you won't have to appear. You can just show up with us and we can convert it to a podcast instead. I'm open to that. Just reach out to me. Let me know that you want to join. And, nothing wrong with not being comfortable being on camera. No judgment. You can just hang out with us, do audio, and that'll be part of the fun. So I already mentioned that I'm doing some website changes. So that'll be coming soon. Just keep your eyes peeled. We have a couple of people wanting to, start a blog there to kind of contribute. No really requirements, just it's more of a for fun thing so I can post updates and links and things like that, things that we have going on around the channel, around the little circle of friends we have. I think that'll be pretty fun. So I wanted to ask you this week about book covers. During the Friday conversation, we did have a whole discussion about book covers and the cost and the appearance and colors and things like that. Are there certain colors that appeal to you, that would stand out to you on a shelf? Now you look at the shelf and your eyes are veering. What stands out to you? Is it print? Is it the text? Is it what about the cover would stand out to you? If it's just a wall of books, you don't know any of them, what would your eyes go to? And there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious what would appeal to you, what would draw your eyes to a certain style of book cover. I'm curious to hear what you look for, what appeals to you with book covers. And I made my case for this already on the forum. I started a forum thread on it that Crystal and I have been talking about it. Fiber Artsy, for those of you who know her on YouTube. We've been talking about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And the reason I bring this up is because I'm one of those weird people that thinks that One Hot Minute is the best Red Hot Chili Peppers album. Now hold on. We're going to get 2 things out of the way. So Blood Sugar Sex Magic is by far their most iconic, right? It set them on the map. It changed, it kind of introduced a new style to mainstream music that I don't think a lot of people really, wasn't really that popular yet. It kind of brought something new to mainstream music, a certain style. And also their later albums, like, Californication and their other album after that, like By the Way, those are catchy. And there's nothing wrong with catchy. It's just they aren't, they don't have like the substance. I mean, I love a lot of the tracks in those albums, don't get me wrong, but when I look at which ones I appreciate the most, like which ones I can listen to over and over, it's got to be One Hot Minute. And it may be just because we're going through like a weird period of time. Maybe it's because I was going through a weird period of time. I think I was in high school at the time when it was released. So, when things are released at certain points in your life, you have an attachment to them for whatever reason. It draws you, takes you back to a certain time or certain things. But I think One Hot Minute is their best album. You look at the different tracks like Warped, My Friends, and like Aeroplane. I mean, there's so much variety, and I think that is their best album. Let me know down below if you agree, or if you don't agree, or if you think, if you even like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Let me know. I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not like a mega fan or anything, but I think for their whole work, their body of work, One Hot Minute should be number one. And it's funny because the band doesn't even, I don't think they play songs live off that album anymore, and there's a lot of turmoil within the band at that time, so who knows. So we've also been watching The Boys, and it continues to be, yeah, it's very crude, like a lot of you have mentioned in the comments and the ones I've spoken with. So yeah, it goes there. We've also been watching the Lord of the Rings movies, and those movies are long. Oof, long movies. And also, Ink Master has made a return. It's on episode 4 or 5. I love Ink Master. It's so much fun. I wasn't sure about the new judges. I wasn't sure how I would take to the new judges and the new host. Dave Navarro still pops in and out once in a while, but there's some great twists and turns that they haven't done before. And in this last episode, I think it's Thursday nights that it's released on Paramount Plus. Really cool twist. I won't spoil what happens, but they leave you hanging in anticipation for next week. But I love that show. It's just great, and the way they incorporate art and other art forms into it. The new hosts are great. I think in a way now, I didn't want the hosts to change, but now that they've changed the hosts, I actually think it needed a change, even though I was afraid for them to change the host. Does that make sense? I was nervous for it to change, but I think it was a good thing. I think it needed something fresh, some fresh perspectives, and just needed like a injection of new, But I'm all about it. So great stuff. If you're a fan, it is on Paramount Plus. I think it's an episode, like I said, 4 or 5. So check that out. So I think that's all I have. Lots of stuff coming up. I do have a list of books for my fall TBR. Have some reviews, like I said. So stuff that I'm working on. It's just finding the time is the hardest part. So, but how are you doing? Let me know what you're up to. What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you enjoying? I always like to hear suggestions or ideas or new movies to watch, new music to listen to. I've gotten so many great suggestions from all of you, and I just like hearing from you. So let me know how you're doing down below in the comments, or or reach out to me on the forum or on social media somewhere if you're into that sort of thing. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of your support, the time you take to watch, comments. Even if you don't comment, thank you for coming by. So until next time, I will talk to you soon.